Hey there, it's Chris again. I'm here to talk about my studio lighting and the problems I've had as a pitfall with studio lighting. One year, I got tired of looking at a painting that I had given a client, and I kept telling to myself, wow, you should see this in my color balanced light in my studio. It's beautiful. It's a shame it doesn't look as good in your living room as it did in my studio. And I got tired of saying that to myself and hoping and wishing they could have seen the painting. And one day I just stopped using daylight light in the studio. So now I actually use a spectrometer and I meter the room and the temperature of the room, and I change the bulbs in my studio for that given painting. The secret to getting your lighting correct is the color reflective index. We call it a CRI. So some of these bulbs, these are my three favorite. 95 is a very high CRI, and this is a 3000 watt bulb, or not 3000 watt, it's a 3000 Kelvin, it's temperature wise. This is 3500. The lower the number, the more yellow the color is. This is soft white, it's 2900. So I use on my easel, a little metal easel by Test Light and Stand Light, Test Right and Stand Right. I almost think they're the same company, but the names aren't the same, and it's quite confusing. So let's move right along. This is the ones I use in my studio. I'm holding one up that says 75 to 53 watt. This goes in my ceiling light, but I also use a 29 watt on my easel. So I have a little light that's on my easel that's 29 watts, and it puts out the 2900 temperature that gives it the same color as the living room. Now here's the problem with bulbs in the past. If I go to Home Depot and I buy a regular soft white bulb, it's gonna be a soft white with a little yellow in it. The soft white with a little yellow in it also doesn't reflect back, color reflective index, CRI, it doesn't reflect back all of the colors. So I don't see the reds or the greens or the blues that I put in the painting. So the higher the CRI is, the more color comes back, regardless of the temperature of the bulb for your preference. Whether you like white light, soft white light, or whatever, or soft white in your living room. You choose what you want that temp to be, and then you just make sure you have a high CRI bulb. The three companies that I'm using is Bulb Bright. I do have a problem with Bulb Bright. The ones in my ceiling go out regularly, like every couple months I'm having to change them out. They're probably about $8 a bulb. This company has lasted a lot longer, and it's called Waveform Lighting. And the website's a little confusing. You have to be very careful when you're on the website because you have to make sure that they're selling a lot of types of bulbs. You're after a CRI 95 or higher. So make sure you double check that it's 95, 95, 95, and then you say, okay, that's what I want, bing, and you order it. And this is a 3000. So what happened for me was, and these are the three companies I've been using. The reason I have them in different temperatures. So when I was working on a painting of President Carter for the Smithsonian, what happened was the painting separated from the canvas. And all of a sudden I had to repaint it. And I was fearful we couldn't get it re-glued and reattached. Now it was attached and fixed, but in that process, I called the Smithsonian and I asked them, what is the temperature in your room? And the curator hooked me up with the technician and he said 3500. So I've had bulbs right here. This is a 3500 bulb. And I set the lights up in my studio for 3500. Well, the original painting was painted under 2900. I wanted the painting to look beautiful under the same color that it would live forever. So I started the painting again. I did it over. We won't mention for the 6th time. We'll just skip that and just keep right on going. And this time I painted it with 3500. So when you see the painting at the Smithsonian, you realize that's the color it was intended for. This became a big issue for me the first time I saw a Monet painting. I never really was a fan of Monet. I was at the Musée d'Orsay, we were with the class, we were doing a field trip. There were probably 40 of us, maybe more. And we're walking around and everyone was taking a break. And I was upstairs underneath the skylights in the afternoon at 4 o'clock, and the sun was coming through, hitting a couple Monet paintings, and it was outdoors as if it was in the sunlight. And the color was vibrating. I never saw color just vibrate like that before. And I was just in love with what Monet had done. I'd spend the next 20 years researching, trying to figure out how to make that happen. Different blog, different color exercises, and I do know the secret. But that night, I said to the class, hey, let's skip the first floor of the Musée d'Orsay, which will later be my favorite. But I said, let's skip this, let's go upstairs. And you gotta see these Monets, they're just vibrating. But you see, at night, the skylight was off, and now you just have the fluorescent lights in the studio. I was looking around the room as if they took the painting off the wall, and I couldn't find those paintings that were vibrating. And that was the beginning of me realizing this is up to the museum to say, if Sargent painted this under a gaslight, what color gaslight does that emit? If Monet paints this outside, what color light? We recently saw a show on Sorolla where he was out at the beach, but some of his paintings were painted at dusk. And it was like really late, 8:45 in the evening, 8:30 in the evening. And it was real dark, and it was a beautiful courtyard, but it's a real dark scene. But I looked above, and there's like 500-watt light bulbs on this painting lighting it up. And the painting didn't look very good at all. I couldn't tell what it was about. I had to take my phone and underexpose every picture, and you saw it glow. So folks, the color of your bulb is your choice. How much color is reflected back is not your choice. You want a bulb with 9500 or 95 CRI or higher. And then you choose the color you want. And then if you're a professional artist, you want to choose a bulb color that matches where it's going to hang. Because I think it's time we let go of us saying, it really looks good in my studio. I wish you could see this. If you're interested in trying to locate any of these products, we'll have the links on the show notes below. If you want to see us use some of Monet's magical color and what made his color vibrate and how to do that, we have videos on that at our website at artsecretsstudio.com.